Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to configure a CB6000 for an ezRoom. So the first thing you should have done is set your computer to a static IP address, which you can see in the other video. And the next thing you want to do is connect to the CB6000 itself. So you can do this one of two ways. If you're doing a standalone setup, you can use the TB14 or a TB6 or TB8 to connect to the aux out of that terminal block to the aux in of the CB6000, and then you'll connect the network port on the CB6000 to your computer. Or if you're using an ezRoom with the CM3000, you can connect the CLAN of the CM3000 to the network on the CB6000 and just plug your computer into the CM3000 network port. So once you're all powered up on the CB6000 and you're connected to your computer, you should be able to communicate between the devices, and you'll open your web browser. So the default IP address of a CB6000 is 192.168.1.104. And you should see this page come up. Now it's good to have a list from the school, obviously, of all the rooms and IP addresses that you'll be using for the FrontRow devices that will be installed, and have that ready so that you can program and set up all your devices with the appropriate IP address. The first thing I'm going to do is grab a configuration file, and this is basically a template that has all the buttons and actions associated with it. And we have several different configuration files on our website. They're preset for different projector manufacturers, and it's easy to download those and start with those, and then if you want to make more customizations from there, you can do that. So I'm going to browse to the configuration file I've downloaded. Click Load. And in this case, it's a configuration file for a CB6000 with the CM3000 and a Hitachi projector. This is also the area where I could save changes to that configuration file if I make them. If I change the buttons or make different actions or even configure the commands for a different projector, I could make those changes and then save them as a new config file. The CB2000 and CM3000 work pretty much the same way, in which you can type an IP address, get to the device, and then change or save the configuration file. Okay, now that we're back, the next thing I'm going to do is to change the name of the device. So now I have a configuration file loaded here, but I want to start entering room-specific information. So if this CB6000 is going to be for room 104, I'll go ahead and type that in. That way a system like the FrontRow Conductor or Maestro campus communication systems can see this device, and you can tell what it is on the network. The next thing I'm going to do is change the macro for the CM3000. So this is an easy way to just specify the IP address that you'll be using for the CM3000 for that room, so that it's reflected in all the actions and events for the control panel. So let's say that was 125. Now that that's saved, the final step is to change the IP address of the CB6000 itself. So I'm going to click on the Ethernet page on the configuration tab here, and I'll update the IP address here. So let's say this was 130. Now once I do that, I'm going to need to change the IP address up here in the browser so that I can get to the device and just make sure everything's okay. So now this device is ready to go. It's all configured. So if I wanted to make changes to it, and if this were my first configuration, I could, and I had the projector on hand, I could start testing different changes to it. If I wanted to, I can go ahead and change buttons. I can assign new button icons or change the name of the buttons. I can also change the actions that are associated with specific commands. So for example, for projector on, if I had a different projector, I could go online, find the programming documentation for that projector on the manufacturer's website, and then enter the appropriate hex code here for that projector. And now I can control any projector I want. So once I've gone through and created my master configuration file and updated all the CB6000s using the method here, I could go ahead and switch my computer back to the standard IP address.